The intelligence connections. The most explosive thread, still officially unproven but stubbornly persistent, links Epstein to intelligence services. The cornerstone remains the Alexander Acosta episode. In 2019, journalist Vicky Ward reported that during Trump transition vetting for Labor Secretary, Acosta explained his 2008 sweetheart deal by saying he had been told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. Ward's source was a former senior White House official present for the discussion. Acosta later told DOJ investigators he had no knowledge of Epstein being an intelligence asset, but he has never directly denied Ward's account under oath in a way that fully dispels it. Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, the British media mogul who died mysteriously in 1991, was long alleged to have been a Mossad asset. He was buried in Israel with eulogies from prime ministers. Ari Ben-Menashe, a former Israeli military intelligence officer, has claimed he personally met Epstein and Ghislaine in the 1980s when they were already working for Israeli intelligence on honey trap operations. Newly released FBI memos from a 2020 Los Angeles field office source, unsealed in 2026 batches, state an undercover informant became convinced Epstein was a co-opted Mossad agent who had been trained as a spy and maintained back-channel ties to Israeli figures, including former Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Barak visited Epstein's properties multiple times. One of his senior aides, Yoni Koren, linked to Israeli military intelligence, stayed regularly at Epstein's New York mansion, with Epstein covering medical bills. Epstein's own 2018 email mused that Robert Maxwell had once threatened Mossad with exposure unless they bailed out his crumbling empire. Epstein also funneled money to Israeli causes via his foundation, including the Friends of the Israeli Defense Forces and the Jewish National Fund. Dropsite News Reporting 2025 documented Epstein quietly brokering security deals for Israel with third countries, including Mongolia, while facilitating back-channel communications during the Syrian civil war. These are not conspiracy theories. They are patterns documented in emails, flight records, and financial transfers. Whether Epstein was a formal asset of Mossad, the CIA, both, or a freelancer playing all sides remains unproven. What is clear is that he moved in intelligence-adjacent circles with extraordinary protection. The 2008 deal shielded potential co-conspirators across state lines. His 2019 death occurred while cameras malfunctioned and guards slept. Vast troves of material sit in unsearched storage units or remain heavily redacted. The real fear, not just pedophilia, but treason and systemic compromise. This is why the cover-up feels so ferocious. Sleeping with an underage girl 20 years ago is a career-ending scandal, but it is survivable with the right lawyers and apologies. Being caught on hidden camera discussing classified information, financial crimes, or foreign policy favors with a man who was feeding that material to a foreign intelligence service is something else entirely. That crosses into espionage, influence operations, and potential treason. The clients weren't all pedophiles. Many powerful visitors to the island or the jet have never been credibly accused of sex with minors. What they shared was access to secrets, government contracts, hedge fund strategies, tech IP, political dirt. Epstein's operation looks like classic compromat. Compromise the mark, record it, own the leverage. The sex made the compromise stickier and more shameful, ensuring silence. Les Wexner, the Victoria's Secret billionaire who essentially gifted Epstein a fortune, power of attorney over his assets, and the New York mansion, later claimed Epstein stole vast sums. Wexner enabled the rise. The question of what Epstein gave or sold in return lingers. Why the media shied away. Sex sells. Blackmail rings involving intelligence services and treason do not, especially when they implicate the same media, political, and financial elites who control narratives. Outlets that spent years detailing every victim's horror story suddenly grew squeamish about cameras in Kleenex boxes, unrated storage units, or Acosta's intelligence explanation. The result? A public fixated on the salacious while the structural machinery of compromise remains half hidden. The bottom line: none of this excuses or diminishes the evil done to the victims. Their suffering was not a side effect, it was the engine. But to pretend Epstein was merely a lone wolf pervert with a private plane is to miss the point of the operation. He was a broker in the oldest and dirtiest currency of power, human compromise packaged as leverage, full transparency, searching every storage unit, releasing every unredacted video and hard drive, declassifying the intelligence files, would serve justice for the victims far better than another round of selective leaks and pearl clutching. Until then, the fear that keeps the real story suppressed isn't about 20-year-old indiscretions. It's about what those indiscretions bought and who still owes. The blackmail wasn't a byproduct, it was the business model. Key recent developments amplifying the intelligence blackmail view. New batches of files, from datasets 9 to 12 in the DOJ's Epstein repository, include emails, FBI summaries, and property records that highlight surveillance and evasion tactics, hidden cameras and recording setups. A 2014 email chain shows Epstein directing his pilot, Larry Visosky, to buy and install motion-detected hidden cameras, small enough to hide in Kleenex boxes, for his Palm Beach mansion. Victims and property searches long described bedroom common area cameras. These emails make it explicit he was actively building or upgrading the system years after his 2008 conviction. Secret storage units. Epstein maintained at least 6 storage lockers across the U.S., near Palm Beach, New York, and elsewhere, paying rent until his 2019 death. He used private detectives to move computers, hard drives, photos, and equipment from his island and homes as investigations closed in around 2005-2006. Search warrants suggest federal authorities never raided these units, raising questions about what remains hidden, potentially unseen compromat or evidence of co-conspirators. These details align with victim accounts of being filmed and the sheer infrastructure needed for ongoing leverage. On the intelligence side, 2025 to 2026 releases and reporting have revived and expanded older claims. FBI memos, unsealed in batches, cite an informant convinced Epstein was a co-opted Mossad agent trained as a spy, with ties to Ehud Barak, who visited multiple times and had aides staying at Epstein properties. Leaked emails show Epstein pursuing deals with ex-MI6 Chewy Mossad figures, e.g., frozen Libyan assets. Acosta's intelligence comment, "I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone," keeps resurfacing in new file contexts and interviews. While Acosta later denied direct knowledge, the line appears in vetting notes and DOJ reviews, fueling speculation he was warned off due to higher-level protection. Broader ties. Reports link Epstein to Russian compromat efforts, recruiting Russian women, advising officials on U.S. politics, potential CIA-adjacent access agent roles, and even historical overlaps with promised software scandals or arms networks via Robert Maxwell. Former CIA officer John Kiriakou called him a textbook access agent on recent shows, noting only state-level funding explains the scale.